Okay, I think it's time for the Admirals walkthrough of Brinks Sonnet number 3 from Barnes Brinkcraft. She's a forward steer cruiser, which means you sit up front and you've obviously got a door in the front and the back, much like the forward steer cruisers that are hired last year from Richardson's. But like all of these boats, the design is very similar, but the interior and finishings and technology on board is different, and this little wee beauty here does have a few surprises about her. She's 30 foot long, she's about 12 foot wide, and just as I start the camera, a helicopter goes over. Enjoy some river footage for a moment. Okay, I might edit that out later. Yeah, as I was saying, she's 30 foot long, she's about 12 foot wide. She's only 6'7" air draft, you know, so she's actually quite low. It was a bit of a shame that I couldn't get under Roxham Bridge on this adventure. That was the original plan. I was going to go up to Coltis Hill because I've never been up there. But with all the wind and the rain earlier on in the week, I just wasn't getting under. The gauge always kept reading around about 6.3 or 6.4, and I might have been able to squeeze under. You know, boat yards and the bridge markers tend to be out just slightly, you know, to err on the side of caution. But I'm responsible for this boat. It's not my boat, so if the gauge said I can't go under, I'm not chancing it. I didn't go under, you know. But that's okay, we'll maybe try and get under some other time. What else is there about the outside? One thing that I do like, that I really actually liked about Brinks Sonnet, is that if you come up here, once again, she's needing a wee bit of a mop. I'll do that later. But one of the good things I liked about Brinks Sonnet is that down here you have your water point, obviously where you fill up on water. That's not unusual, every boat has one. What is unusual is that you've got another one of those on the other side of the boat, about the same place. This means that no matter what side of the boat you moor on, if you side on moor, you've always got a water point right there at the quayside, you know, easy to fill up, and you're not needing to drag a hose to the other end of the boat. That's a lovely wee feature. That I've never seen that on another boat before, and I actually really like that. Makes filling up with your water less hassle. You know, you're not having to hang on to handrails and drag ropes around to the other side and sort of squat down, you know, riverside, you know. Very, very lovely wee feature that. Very much approve. Once again, you've all got the trusty handrails, very handy to hang on to. They run all the way along, and you've got one at the front here just to help you on and off. Another wee feature, that's your diesel point there, is you've got these. You'll notice there's no mud weight here. What you've got is these. It is an electric mud weight, first time I've ever had one, and it's very, very easy to use. You just push that down. Or is it that one? It's probably neither of them because the engine isn't switched on. But yes, basically you push one, the mud weight goes down, and then in order to drag it up you just push the other button and up it comes, you know. Once again, very, very easy, you know. You're not struggling with a heavy weight, you know, especially if it's embedded in mud, and there's never been a problem. And yes, lovely wee thing. Electric mud weights, handy, very handy. Obviously that's just the other end. You can probably just, I don't know if you can just make out the other water point just at the back there. TV aerial. and obviously in we go to the boat. What I will say, your rond anchors are located in a wee cubby hole here. Just put that up, and that's your rond anchors in there. Sorry about any, if it's not really coming out, the sun's on the screen and it's making it difficult to see. You'll obviously notice little wee sort of LED lights here. That's controlled by that button there. That brings them on and off. You know, so your outside lighting at the front, switch there. And there's another one at the back, but I'll show you that once we go through, because once again, as always, we go front to back. Let me just put that on and move the curtain out of the way. Right, and this is the saloon. And I've got to say, for a small boat, she's actually quite surprisingly compact and managed to squeeze everything in. You know, when I first saw the photos of her, I was like very unsure. Not so much because the TV was there, which is your standard TV, DVD, but because of this. This looked very much out of place, sitting where it was. But that's actually a full-size fridge. A proper full-size fridge. Not your wee sort of mini fridges that you get on a lot of the boats. It might seem a bit odd sitting there by itself, you know, but it's very large. It's got all the wee bits and pieces, you know. There's not much in it, you know, obviously. And obviously just up here you've got a nice wee freezer compartment as well. It'll not hold a lot, but it'll hold something. So because it's a small boat and your kitchen is right there, you know, it's never a problem if you want to grab anything from the fridge. I should have mentioned actually that she is bow thruster assisted, and she is also a 240 volt inverter as well, which means that you can plug in all your various chargers with plug sockets and all that. And I'll say this about her, she's got tons of plug sockets, loads of plug sockets. We've got two in the corner here, we've got two in the corner here by the helm. Very handy, that, I really like that. And we've got two in the bedroom, but I'll show them when I go through. Obviously we'll start in this area here. Your trusty Pioneer radio with your auxiliary lead. To tell you the truth, I think this has seen better days. It's a wee bit sort of it works, but it just feels like it's needing replaced. You know, it feels like it's been pretty much abused over the years and needs either a new head unit or updated. There's nothing terribly wrong with it, but just trying to get it to do anything sometimes takes several pushes, and sometimes you're lucky if you can actually get the functions you might want. But it works perfectly. Once you get it working, it works perfectly, and it's been wonderful. The speakers, just through the speakers, got a speaker there and a speaker there, and they actually work very nice speakers indeed. You got the table that you can pull out, nice wee cubby hole. It keeps it well out of the way, so you're not banging into it. I've obviously got the bin there. Keeps that out of the way as well. Your 12 volt socket, and up here once again a demister heater for when you put the heating on. Blasts nice air up there and helps in to demist it, especially first thing in the morning. Light switches, that's your throttle. Up here on the helm, once again you'll excuse all my plethora of junk that I bring with me, but it gives you an idea. Now if I can just move this lovely lady out the way, that's just my phone holder for when I put my phone up for my app. What you've got here is they call it a fish finder. I don't know, I don't think it's really coming out very well. on the screen because of the sun. But here you've got sort of depth, speed, you've got a wee signal here, you've got temperature. I'm not entirely sure what this is. I don't really know how to read this. If this is indeed a fish finder, it never seemed to find any fish unless I'm I don't know, reading it wrong. I've played around with it, but yeah, it's a quite a novelty wee thing, and if you knew what you were doing with something like this, it is good. I will say though that the speed on this doesn't match the speed on my GPS app. It seems to be just a little bit slower, maybe about half a mile an hour slower on this than it is on my app. And I know from the other GPS systems that I have used on boats that my app is very, very similar in calibration to those apps. So I think this is a bit slower. So if you're coming, if you hire Brinks Sonnet, don't rely on this speed per se, because if it's a 4 mile an hour speed limit and you're doing maybe 4.2, you're possibly doing 4.7, 4.8, near 5 miles an hour, so you'd possibly be going too fast. So yeah, just be careful of that. You know, it might be my app that's out, but like I say, other GPS speedos that I've used on other boats have been very, very similar to the app, only about 0.1 mile of an hour difference. You know, this one seemed to have quite a discrepancy between the two, so I've never actually relied on that. I've stuck with my little app. What we've got here is we've got the trusty speedo. Obviously your temperature gauge. They say the normal working temperature is 80. This boat has run very, very cool. You know, it's just been just over 75. But once again, I've never really sort of pushed it too much. Down here you've got all your sort of warning lights. Lovely steering wheel, by the way. I love this steering wheel. It has been a joy to hold this steering wheel. You know, just that wood finish. You know, and it's not like a car steering wheel just bolted on. You know, and just a lovely wee emblem. This has really been a lovely steering wheel. I really like this steering wheel a lot. Obviously here we have your fuel gauge. Once again, it's nice to see that. A wee bit surprised when I was coming in yesterday. You know, I was down to almost half a tank, which surprised me actually a wee bit. I mean, I know especially in the first part of the week, the heater was running a lot because of it was quite cold. But yeah, considering I've not actually done much sort of proper cruising, I'm surprised I got down to near half a tank. But we'll see what that equates to when I go back to the boatyard. Bow thruster, lovely little control for the bow thruster, like that, left and right. Obviously your key, your horn and your wiper. One thing I will say, I don't know if it just needs time to warm up in the mornings, but I have noticed that you fire up the engine, you know, and the engine comes alive, and then it sort of takes a few seconds for the revs to build up to sort of idle revs. You know, the revs sit a bit low, and then it sort of warms up a bit, loosens up a bit, and then it picks up. But I have noticed that if you then leave your mooring and hit a bow thruster, the revs immediately die and the engine cuts out. So I don't know if it's something to do with the batteries, obviously, or the hydraulic pump, or needs warmed up, or you know, the engine just needs sort of, all the systems need warmed up before it really sort of works properly. But yes, that has caught me out once or twice. But once the engine's all warmed up and everything's running smoothly, then it's not a problem. You know, you've used it as to heart's content, and there's never an issue. But I have noticed that first thing, if you start it cold and then try and leave, the engine has the revs have a habit of dropping, and the engine sort of dies out. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going. It's never been a problem, but it's definitely something to keep an eye out on. And be careful. Always sort of fire up the engine maybe 5-10 minutes before you're due to leave, just to give everything time to all sort of warm up and what have you, and then you're okay to go. One niggle that I had about the helm position, okay, and it's the seat. Now, once again, excuse all the wee things. Now the seat. Now the back of it is very, very comfortable. It's very, very comfortable indeed. But in a way, I'm quite glad that I never actually ended up doing a lot of cruising on this holiday. Because this seat, it's obviously fixed as you'd expect, you know, but it's actually, it's a little bit too narrow. And as such, it gets a bit too uncomfortable when you're sort of spending any length of time on it. You know, you sit on it, but there's no support sort of for the backs of your legs. You basically, it's just your bum that rests on it. By the time you've sort of, well, it's just literally your bum that sits on that. And it's comfortable for a while, but yeah, after about an hour and a half, you start sort of fidgeting and shifting. And if I was to, like, maybe, well, you remember last year, I think it was 7 hours. I left Horning and I went down to Rockland St Mary's. Yeah, I wouldn't have been doing that sort of journey on that. I'd have been begging for time to have a break. So yeah, that's one. But I mean, it is just a niggle. If all you're doing is just sort of short cruises here and there, or you've got somebody to take over while you stretch your legs, it's not too much an issue. The seat itself is very comfortable. You know, it's nothing to do so much with the cushions or the padding. It's just that this is just a little bit on the narrow side, and you might find that after an extended sit in it, you know, especially if you're a larger person like myself, it gets a little bit uncomfortable after a while. So yeah. However, the saloon seats, very comfortable indeed. Very, very comfortable indeed. I do believe this pulls out for the obligatory secondary bed, if you like. But I wouldn't put 4 people on this boat. I think it might be a wee bit small for 4 people. Maybe a third person, a kid. Okay. I haven't pulled it out, so I don't know. I've just left it where it is. But the seats themselves are very comfortable, and it's a lovely, comfortable place in which to watch the TV if you're doing that. Which brings me to the canopies. Now, the canopies. I have not had these open at all on this adventure. I might open them today, but they are very, very stiff with these sort of moorings, and getting these pins out is one thing, getting them back in is another. The canopy has to be lined up exactly, and you kind of have to force the pin back in order to lock it. It's not the easiest, and obviously, as you can see, there is no handrails to sort of grab, you know, like grab rails, so that to grab onto and yank the canopy back or forward. Another problem I have with the canopies, if I'm being honest, is I don't know if you can see that, there is no draft proofing at all anywhere on these canopies, and the gap is quite large, shall we say. Now, once again, during weather like this, not a problem. It really isn't a problem, you know. But weather like Monday, you know, trying to sit here, you know, on board the boat, you were getting quite a bit of a draft coming in from the high winds down these gaps here. It was slightly well, I think I showed you it was one reason why I ended up with my house coat on top of my clothes on Monday, because it wasn't so much that it was cold on board the boat, it was just this bloody draft was going right down the back of my neck. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame that Barnes Blinkcraft didn't put any sort of draft proofing in. I know you can do that. I mean, you can see there, my hands sliding in very easily there. Swan Radiance had draft proofing. That was a very comfortable boat. I never felt anything whatsoever. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame that they never put any sort of draft proofing in there. But once again, on weather like this, beautiful weather, it really is not a problem at all. But one other thing, since I'm talking about the canopy, is another reason I never sort of opened this canopy is because when you're sitting here at the helm, the canopy is actually behind you. Okay, that gives you a wee bit of shelter from any sort of draft or breeze or side winds and everything like that. That's very good. But it also means that if you're trying to moor up, especially if you're just by yourself, there's not even an open window here. You know, that's solid. The open window is here, or the canopy, which is behind you. So you can't actually poke your head out the side of the boat to see what your back end is doing, or if you're trying to like stern on moor, you know, you kind of have to sort of take things very, very easy and wait for that sort of nudge that you're there, because like I say, you can't poke your head out there, you can't poke your head out there, you know, the canopy is behind you. You could open it, but it's because of this pin and no grab rail, it's a bit of an effort to get the thing open. And you know, it's not something you can do just quickly if you quickly need to pop your head out to see what's going on behind you. So yeah, that's not any of Barnes Blinkcraft fault whatsoever, it's just the design of the boat. But it is worth mentioning that, especially if you're used to other forward steer cruisers where you've got a window or a removable canopy right beside you, it's not, it's actually behind you. I mean, you'll not see any side-on footage at all on this adventure because there was just no way to mount a camera. Well, I could mount a camera, but there was no way to get access to it because, like I say, all the opening points was behind me. Just another wee thing to point out. But once again, I mean, these niggles are really quite small niggles, apart from the draft on a windy day. That was just a little bit annoying. But the seats themselves, very, very comfortable, very spacious. Considering it's a small boat, it's actually a very spacious area to live in, and it's been wonderful. And I would definitely recommend. It would be a fantastic couples boat. I don't know if you noticed as well. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Did I run out of? Did I talk too much? Yes. A kettle. I don't know if you've noticed that we've actually got a kettle on board here, which, if you know your boats, is very, very unusual. Why is a kettle on board a boat? Usually, it's one of these gas kettles where you put on a gas ring and you heat it up like that, makes that whistling noise. Well, we've got a kettle because we don't actually have a gas ring. What we've got is these, you know. That's right, this boat is full electric. There is no gas at all, which is a bit of a novelty for me actually. I didn't realise when I first had it that there was no gas, but you've got a two-burner, well, a two-hob if you like, with the electrics. You just switch it on, power it up. Obviously these are, I think these are, what are these, conductive induction type plates, so they only work with certain sort of pots and pans, you know, but they're obviously provided. And for your cooker, you've got one of these fancy microwave cooker combo grill palaver thingamabobs, which I've not used, I will admit. I've not used that at all. Obviously I'm too busy eating out in the interest for food reviews of the broads. But yes, it looks very complicated, and I'm not entirely sure how good an oven that is, but you do get a lovely thick bundle of papers telling you exactly how it works, what to do, and everything like that. So if you're not sure how such a unit works, plenty to keep you, to let you know how to cook your food or your microwave stuff or whatever in that. It's a bit of an unusual arrangement, but because there's no gas, you don't need to worry about gas bottles, you don't need to worry about ventilation. So yeah, I think if I was actually to have used that, I would have probably got used to it very quickly, and I probably would have actually very much liked it. Also, because there's no gas, you also get a proper sort of toaster. The toaster is just a wee thing, you know. One thing to point out about the toaster is that it won't take a slice, a normal slice of bread that way, unless you buy a small slice of, like a small loaf of bread. So if you buy like well, I buy Kingsmill, you know, and Kingsmill won't fit in that way, so I had to put it in lengthways, and then halfway through the cooking quickly lift it out, turn it around in order to cook my bread for my morning toast in the morning. But it's still nice to have a nice wee toaster and not worry about cooking things in gas and constantly turning it over and changing it, and because the gas isn't covering it. Obviously you got a nice wee space there. There's your cutlery drawer there. Obviously, once again, you got all your plates, your egg cups and everything in there. All your pots, pans, coffees, everything you could possibly need for a week on the broads. All your pots are down there, bowls, and thank God, look at that, stemmed wine glasses. That is, I think I mentioned about Richardson's not having wine glasses, just glasses, and I was enjoying a bottle of wine one night, and it just didn't seem right. Ironically, I've got stemmed wine glasses on board, and I never had any wine this adventure. But yes, that is a very, very good thing to see. And obviously you got your mugs and your proper glasses at the back there. So very well kitted out, very, very nice. And because there was no gas or anything, everything's electric. No problems whatsoever. You've got a heating point down there, and I have to admit it takes a wee while just to sort of fire it up, you know, maybe about 5-10 minutes. Makes us a bit of a noise, but nothing too intrusive. But my God, that is warm. That is really, really warm. There was many a times I had to put the heating off, especially during the start of the week, because the place in here just got too stifling, too hot, and I just had to put it off, and that's when I started really feeling the draft. You've also got another couple of light switches here, which do the lights, the LEDs all along here. I will point out though that I don't know if you can see it, but I think Burns the Brinkcraft, from an aesthetic point of view, are needing to give this boat a slight refurbishment, as a lot of these sort of stainless steel or whatever fittings are actually starting to corrode. Pretty much all of them are actually starting to corrode. So it's just from a purely aesthetic point of view. There's nothing wrong with them. They work perfectly. They look wonderful, you know, and they provide a lot of light. But yeah, from an aesthetic point of view, they're all tending to corrode. So it might be about time for Brinks Sonnet to get a slight refurbishment. But that's the saloon, and like I say, everything I'm pointing out really is just a niggle, you know. There's nothing wrong with the boat. She's comfortable, she's wonderful, loving the fact that it's just all electric and no gas. And yes, it has been a joy to actually spend time in her. But let's go into the cabin and take a wee look in the cabin, which is obviously through here. Now it's a wee bit darker in here, so let me just I know, I should have done all this in advance, shouldn't I? Right, first thing you notice when you walk into the cabin is a lovely, lovely full length mirror, you know. Very, very nice, you know, just to sort of prune yourself in the morning. You've got the wee sort of lights, the curtains. You've got a wee wardrobe here, a hanging wardrobe, but it's not very deep. And you've got a couple of sort of drawers here, you know, which would probably get in the way, I think. You've also got, obviously that's obviously your night curtains, another wee sort of drawer. I've just shoved a lot of stuff in there at the moment just to keep it out of the way. You do get a couple of sort of coat hangers, but it's not a very big wardrobe at all. And you probably wouldn't get too much in there. But you do have the advantage though of quite a number of storage options in here, including another sort of cupboard with your brush and pan, and another bag, and another drawer there, and your wee sort of cubby holes there. And the curtains, once again, you've got ample lighting from the roof lights, which are controlled here. You've also got, you can also control your roof lights here with these two. This one is, I like this one. This one actually controls under bed lighting. That gives a lovely, lovely sort of soft type of night glow, if you like, at night. If you didn't want the harsh light from the exteriors. You've got another heating vent here, once again, and round here you also have not only another night light, well, another sort of LED light, you've also got another twin plug socket. You know, tons of plug sockets on this boat. I like this boat for plug sockets. I like this boat indeed. loads of plugs. You've also got over there, you can probably just see in the bed, a couple of night reading lights which are adjustable to you know, wherever you want them. And this is the bed. It's angled out a wee bit and it tapers slightly, but it is very, very comfortable. And the pillows were thick yet soft, and yes, there was I had many a good, lovely, warm sleep in that bed. Really liked it. However, because you might notice the case there, not really any place to put your case. If you bring a big case, so that's blocking another LED nightlight, by the way, down there. But yes, there is storage space on the boat, but being a small boat, it is a bit compact. It's maybe not the best, but there is room for everything. Just maybe unpack and leave your case on board in your car if you can, or like I say, do what I do and just leave it sitting over there. Excuse that, I'm just drying a towel and my house coat. These are lovely wee things, though. You get the wee coat hooks, put them up, you know, out of the way, or pull them down, and there you go. A nice wee sort of coat hanger for your coats, and well, I use that to help dry the towel, you know. And obviously another opening window for some ventilation should you require it. And down here, if we can see, is your electrical panel. Very comprehensive and detailed. What you've got here, one thing I might point out, is a water gauge and a toilet gauge. and that's really, really good, except they never seem to move. Unless, of course, I fire up the engine, and that's when you get the true reading of the gauges. And of course, because I'm driving the boat, I'm not actually seeing these gauges. So every time I come here, the water always says full and the waste tank always says empty. So I don't really know if they are working or if they're not. It would have been nice if those gauges were also up on the helm, but never mind. What you've also got here is, this kind of tells you all about your battery situation, your domestics, your heating, your engine battery and everything like that. And I will say, I'm not, once again, I don't know all the details, all the technical sides of it. I'm just pointing these things out. But there must be a serious battery bank in it. I don't know if it's lithium ion, I don't know if it's just a lot of batteries, but the domestic batteries, it seems to take an age to use any sort of battery power whatsoever. You know, I mean, I moored up yesterday, you know, and this morning it's only at 94% battery. I ran the engine for 2 hours on Monday morning just to charge up the batteries. To tell you the truth, I don't think I needed to do that, you know, because power on this boat has never ever been an issue, and I think you would find that you would quite happily have no problems at all in running your batteries or using whatever for any length of time without running your engine. So yes, I do like the batteries system here. That's obviously your heater. It's adjustable, hot air, air conditioning, temperatures up and down. Once again, it's a wee bit odd to see you. It would be nice if that controller was in the saloon, but it's never really a problem at all just to come here and just flick the switch. All your wee bits and pieces, you know. And down here, I will point out, I don't know if you can see it, immersion. You've actually got an immersion heater. So you just flip that on, puts on the immersion for hot water. But to tell you the truth, once again, I have switched it on for the shower in the morning without running the engine, and you get a good shower out of it. You have to be quick with the shower because it does quickly sort of start getting cold, but there is definitely enough hot water using the immersion for a shower, you know. And yeah, it's good to see that you can actually have hot water without needing to run the engine. This is, the boat's got a couple of sort of niggles, if you like, and they are just niggles, but in the long run, some of the important stuff really makes up for any sort of minor niggles that you might have with other sort of aesthetic appearances, if you like. So yes, that's your control panel there. Obviously on the it's actually split into two, so we'll go to the left first. In here is your bathroom, your toilet I should say. It's, once again, it's all very functional. There's we all know how a toilet works. You've got a mirror there, you've got a couple lights there. What took me a wee while to figure out was how to switch those lights on, because usually there's a light switch out here, but these control the bedroom lights, and I felt a bit daft, but that's the light switch there. Took me a wee while to find that, you know, but I found it indeed, eventually. And obviously you've got little wee sort of cups, and it's squeeze in here. It's an electric flush, so you just push the button, it does its business, and excuse me, I'm needing a drink. You just push the button, it does its business, and there you go, you know, it's nice to see these wee electric things. What I will say about the toilet though is that being a 30-foot boat, it's right at the back, and it's sort of, I mean, you can sit on it, but a big arse like mine, it's a bit tight, you know, so you can do your business, but you you know, you feel like you, in a way, you're kind of shoehorned in there. But you know, I mean, I suppose, you know, it's like with a lot of things boating, it's all about a compromise, you know. And you've got a nice big bedroom, a nice big saloon, so you're only natural that in a small boat, a 30-footer, you're going to have a small bathroom or toilet. So yeah, and let's face it, you know, you're not exactly going to be spending a great deal of time in here at all. So that's really not an issue in any way whatsoever. I will also point out, just as a side note, just to let you know, that when you've been running the engine for a while, the engine is directly at the back here, this room gets very, very hot, you know. Probably one of the warmest rooms of the boat once the engine's been running. But yes, so that's the bathroom. And on this side is the shower room. Now, excuse the cable. You get a shore cable, obviously, that you can use, but there's not really anywhere sort of to put it. So I just keep it in the bathroom. It's out of the way, you know. You'll only really be using this once a day, and I just take it out, put it in the bedroom, do my shower, and then pop it back on the floor once it's all dried out a wee bit. Once again, it's quite tight and compact, and it's also not very, very sort of tall, you know. I mean, if you're a tall person, I'm 5'10", and I had to stoop a little in order to get in order to use the shower or pull the shower off. So yeah, it's pretty tight, pretty compact, you know. You've got a wee sort of ledge there for your bits and pieces, and obviously a wee seat there. Light switch once again there, you know. Once again, took me a wee while to find that. Over here you've got your sort of adjustable temperature thing, you know. What you do is you just flick that switch. You see that switch there? You flick that switch to switch the shower on. Adjust the temperature with that. This switch here is your water pump. And unlike other boats that have a water pump, you don't press and hold it. You just flick it in and it stays in and it pumps all the water out, and then you put it off and then it fills up again and put it back on, whatever. But yeah, it's much like the toilet. It's a bit compact, but it does the job, you know. And once again, you're really only in here for a quick shower, just to freshen up. So really, it's not too much of an issue at all. So yeah, that is that's the shower room. And then obviously at the back of the boat we just out the back, and there we go. We've got your engine is just under that cover there. It's nice that it's at the back, but it would be nice if it had a little bit more soundproofing. It did sort of resonate a wee bit through the boat, not intrusively so, but there was definitely I could definitely hear it. You know, it wasn't as quiet as I thought it would be being here. Maybe it was more to do with the fact that it's a shorter boat than I've had before. Be surprised what 5 feet of boat can, the difference that can make. But yes, it's not a loud boat, but it would be nice if there'd just been a wee bit more sort of sound deadening in that compartment, just to make it a wee bit quieter. Once again, I don't know if you can see, you've also got over here more outside lights, and That's just by the button there, switches them on, so you can be always welcomed home after a night out. And that is it. That is Brinks Sonnet number 3, Admirals walkthrough. And yeah, I mean, she really is a lovely boat, you know. There is one or two niggles that I have with her, but I'm being a bit pedantic if I'm being truthful. They are just niggles. There's nothing wrong with her. She's a comfortable boat. She's looked after me very, very well. About the only issue I really did have with her at all is the draft around the canopy here on a windy day. Other than that, she's got tons of power, like electricity power. The bow thruster is very powerful, you know, so you can never have an issue with that. The bed, very, very comfortable. The heating, very, very warm, even on the colder days. So yes, she has been a wonderful, wonderful boat that has looked after me well over the course of the week's adventure. And in some ways I'm going to be sad to take her back tomorrow. It would have been nice if I had another opportunity to spend some more of this wonderful weather with her. But yeah, that concludes the Admirals walkthrough of Brinks Sonnet number 3. It is one of the elite class boats. She is very nice. She's very... Okay, I think I don't know what's going on here with my... Seems to be cutting out every 25 minutes. So sorry. Yes, I don't know at what point that cut out. I know it was during me sort of wrapping up the Admirals walkthrough. But yes, let me just say again that Brinks Sonnet number 3, lovely boat. You know, very comfortable, very warm. Very easy to moor up, you know, and I've never had any issues, major issues with her. Couple of niggles, you know, but every boat has them. It's all about compromise, but I just point them out just to let you know exactly what it is that you're getting with the boat, the good and the bad. And I've got to say, although I've pointed out a few niggles, there's nothing really wrong with her, nothing at all. And she has been a fantastic boat. About the only thing I would probably say to be aware of is a draft around the sliding canopies, you know. But a bit of draft protection, you know, and that would solve that issue, no problems whatsoever, you know. But on days like this, you'll never notice that. You never will. But yes, I'm going to wrap up the Admirals walkthrough of Brinks Sonnet number 3, and until later, I'll speak to you soon. So until I've got more to update you, bye for now. Cheers.